Hello, this is Isaac from Turn Sounds. If you wear a toupee, don't go out in a sandstorm.
Welcome to Just Keep Walking. This is a podcast focused on the Walking Dead TV show, and today we're talking about season 11, episode 16, called Acts of God. I'm your host, Ben, and joined today by
Isaac, hello.
And Liam.
Awesome, just finishing his drink.
Thought I had much more time than I did.
Yeah, no, it did well. We're here at the what would be the season finale normally, episode 16, but only a mid-season finale. Which is, nice change. We're going to get into our overall thoughts, dive into some details, and I'm definitely keen to hear from you, the listeners, and what you thought of it. So you can head to turnsounds.com if you'd like to give us your thoughts, or find Just Keep Walking podcast on Instagram. It's probably, they're the best too. But
Or
we're
message.
on Facebook as well.
Yeah, Facebook, Turn Sounds on Facebook.
Definitely. So spoilers ahead for the episode. I might leave that.
Oh, okay.
I did cut it out of the last one. It went on too long. But anyways, what were your thoughts, Isaac, overall on the episode?
People who weren't expecting spoilers now have got full spoilers and weren't warned.
Yeah.
Oh man, good episode. We pick these things apart, I feel, unfairly sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair.
But we enjoy it, so that's why we do it, right? So there are a lot of nitpicky things, some really cool scenes I enjoyed watching, and things that panned out in ways where I was like, that was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
A couple of useless scenes, which I was like, what was that doing in there? But overall, enjoyable. Not really a letdown for me.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Liam?
Favorite episode of this this block.
Yeah. Okay.
Really liked it.
Nice.
Wow, good.
Yeah, really enjoyed this one.
Solid.
And you, Ben?
Pretty good by season 11 standards. That sums it up pretty well, I think. Yeah, it was sort of still just some big overall issues that aren't necessarily to do with this episode, but just the fact that we don't know the stakes of some things, and the setup has been a little bit shoddy. So then when you do get to these climactic scenes, they're not as meaningful. But there were lots of really great moments this episode, and it was just, it was fun to watch. The music was definitely a highlight for me, just really good throughout. And I think this is something they've done pretty well in a lot of the sort of, bigger episodes, sort of leading up to a big conflict or something, is just... It almost felt like constant music in this one, even if it was just subtle in the background, but just sort of having the music come in before you transition to a next scene makes it feel like it's all part of this bigger thing. It's all working together, and there's just something about it that, definitely builds up momentum and anticipation. So, it's cool. Yeah.
I agree.
All right, so we start off with Maggie, some of the crew heading out. It was kind of sad that you said at the start, "Oh, who's that guy?" Because then he ended up dying.
I know.
He has been in the show since season 9, but he hasn't had anything notable to do. He's sort of been one of those characters. He's got a few lines here and there, and he'll just sort of randomly appear and disappear in different episodes. I thought, obviously, this is full spoilers. I thought it was definitely a good choice to sort of kill him off in the way they did for a shock factor, because, like we've been saying, now it's, season 11, the end of the show, now's the time to start, killing off characters for story purposes rather than what they've been doing the last few seasons, which is sort of introducing a new character and then killing them. You've still got this whole roster of other characters who we know their faces. You may as well kill them, and it'll be more impactful. So, not that I had anything against the character, but I thought it was a good choice for that. A familiar face.
Yeah, well, that was one thing I was going to bring up a little earlier and say I find it a shame that toward the ending of something, they feel the need to do exactly what you said for dramatic purposes. Does there not exist a universe in The Walking Dead where they can all link arms and walk off into the sunset together,
I guess the main point I'm saying is, if you're going to kill anyone, may as well kill someone who we recognize rather than introducing new people and killing them 20 minutes later.
No, fair.
That's the only point. But yeah, no, I do agree with you there. Yeah, you don't just have to kill everyone just because it's the end of the show. Yeah, no, for sure. Did you recognize him at all, Liam? Or remember?
Yes and no. He looked familiar, but not enough to go, oh yeah, I recognize it. Definitely not name, but I thought
Sure.
I couldn't even tell you where I recognize him from.
Yeah, no, that's
The archery
very
with
fair.
Elijah, wasn't he doing the thing with him?
Yeah,
In
probably.
that episode.
Shoot your shot, buddy.
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Classic line.
yeah. And he was, well, the first episode he got introduced, he was friends with Ken, who was Earl and Tammy's son, and he like died straight away. But that sort of, I don't know if you remember that. It was a while ago, but that sort of kicked things off with like, oh well, why are we risking our lives to provide for the saviors, even though like we don't owe them anything and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, we got. Okay, so yeah, well, I'm just remembering this now. It's introduced right at the start is the locust swarm. And I really like the idea of it, but then it didn't have any effect on the episode.
So that'll be the act of God, so to speak, hey?
Exactly, yeah. Any thoughts?
At first, if I may,
Yeah.
they're all looking up at the sky and you hear the sound. I thought, oh, is this one of those big budget things where we just hear it and we never see anything? And I kind of liked the way that it was slowly revealed.
Yeah.
You know, a couple looking up and smiling and, oh, yeah, here we go. And then I think it was after Negan and the like saw it that you started to pan up toward the sky and see. And it looked fine. So, yeah.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, just the main thing was that, why? It was sort of, built up, and I really like the idea of things like this, sort of, this is the world is falling apart and we don't have people who usually would regulate, I don't know how all that agriculture stuff works, but it makes sense that there'd be plagues of different things because the world's kind of out of balance. What are your thoughts?
You could argue and that it's just a big metaphorical thing that like before any massive storm, typically animals like migrate massively in like floods of things.
Okay.
And it could just be, time of the year thing with the locusts or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Which I learned the other day, apparently they're only called locusts if they're in a particular cluster of...
Oh, really?
Otherwise they're just like...
Grasshoppers.
Grasshoppers, yeah.
Really?
Oh, wow.
They're only called locusts when they're in swarms.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
Don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard.
Wow.
Interesting.
Just you said it confidently, so everyone out there,
we believe it.
Yeah.
But you could argue that this whole like Commonwealth arc now that's going to happen in the next chunk is like this big storm of power and everything that's happening. And so the locusts are like a foreshadowing of all of that.
Yeah, and it's just kind of consuming everything in its way and
Yeah.
leaving it in ruins. And okay.
That's a good point,
I could get
actually, yeah.
behind that. Yeah.
Especially considering the way the episode ended, yeah.
No, fair enough. I like that. Yeah,
That makes me appreciate it a bit more because I was sort of sitting in the same boat as you. Like, oh, that's cool, but he didn't really do anything.
I guess it was just the build up to it. It was sort
Yeah.
of three different sets of like, oh, something's coming, and then like you expect it during the big battle, or just as something's about to happen, then they come in and sort of get in the way or interfere somehow, which didn't really happen, but that's all right. I like, that's a good point.
I was similar to your train of thought there. I was hoping that it was like leading to animals moving away from a threat, right?
Right.
The walkers we saw against the hilltop wall right before the initial credits. I'm like, oh, please let there be another horde.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that
okay.
they were all like, it probably worked better if it were birds or something, but I was hoping that they're all just trying to get away from like a massive horde that's about to come through.
That would be great, actually. And then, when the explosion goes off at Hilltop, or when, guns start firing, then all of a sudden out of the woods just comes this massive swarm of walkers,
If you're going to say horde, you have to do it in Alpha's voice, always. Horde.
That was nice.
Yeah. I don't miss her. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This is, correct me if you remember anything differently. I feel like you would remember things like this, Isaac, but they pretty much only ever call them herds when it's just like walkers roaming around, but then Alpha and the Whisperers have their horde, which is sort of under their control. That's fair. Yeah. I've paid attention to it a few times, but not like consistently. But definitely originally in season 2, at least, they called them herds.
Wow, I never noticed that. I always assumed it was hordes.
Yeah. Well, it's similar enough.
And Mandela effect.
Yeah. Eugene getting some action again.
He works fast, man. Oh boy.
Burning through the whole community.
I'm so happy for Eugene.
Yeah, go Eugene. The one thing, this is nitpicky.
Oh.
Shave your neck. And it
Fair.
makes your
Yeah.
whole facial hair look so much more like controlled. But otherwise, it just makes you look a bit like a slob if you
Yeah.
like got a little bit of a double chin and like you're growing a neck beard. Yeah.
Brings your jawline forward as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
That's a little nitpick on Eugene, but he does what he does, and it's obviously working for him. So,
We've skipped past a couple of my notes already.
of course, yeah, go back.
I'll just smash through these. First of all, Herschel kept his present hat, which is nice. I know. It was,
yeah.
I know it was already his hat, but I was like, my present.
Oh, I may as well keep this now.
Yeah. The coin flip shot at the start with
and at the end.
and
yeah.
at the end, because it came up at the end as well. It wasn't as jarring because it was a bit kind of
Yeah.
not thematic, but what do you? Maybe thematic.
As George Lucas would say, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah. Good stuff. I wasn't a fan of it when I first saw it. I thought this, because you got to pick a shooting style, right, for your series,
Right.
and you come to know that you could be in any scene and know, oh, this is The Walking Dead because of either the filter on the lens or just the way that it's shot. And so by doing all these fancy slow motion shots and stuff, I would wonder that they're dancing away from what the show is actually supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like getting a little too fancy for the sake of fancy.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
But
And that's maybe an overall thing. This is like, I'll just say it once, we won't get into it too much. But yeah, just some of the technical things like the cinematographer and the editor on this episode have both been with the show for quite a while. So I wouldn't necessarily blame it on them. But who knows? Who knows who makes decisions at the end of the day. But yeah, there were definitely just a lot of just random sort of weird things that seemed out of place this episode with... Particularly, I noticed it in the editing, just like, why did you cut to that shot then? It was sort of really distracting. And then they tried to do the really cheap trick with Leah behind the tree. They showed like her bandaging herself up and Maggie's coming around the tree, but it's a different tree. And that was like so rushed. And so that might not have even been the editor's call. Maybe someone else said, no, you have to put that in there. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that you're like, if that was just cut slightly differently, it might have worked. But yeah. So yeah, just stuff like that. And perspective is a big thing as well with cinematography, especially
the fight scenes in the car yard where they're like Daryl's face is all the way zoomed up and you can still see behind him with like...
There was something about that looked really off. That looks like
I wondered if he was like composited on top of the footage.
Exactly. Because like his nose, I feel like it was transparent.
But yeah, it was blurry.
I'm going to pull this up.
It's all right if we get there when we get there. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
But that was one of the more positive notes I had. I thought the actual set with the car yard was very nice.
Yeah, that was cool. Definitely. It's just this is the last thing I'll say about it. But just the slow motion in that action scene just makes it feel so cheap and like you could have. It could have seemed like it could have been a really cool action scene if it was sort of visceral and you're in the middle of it. But then for every other shot, it's like slow.
Yeah.
And that makes the VFX look bad because it's a lot harder to make it look good when you slow it down and analyze every frame. So it was kind of obvious all the bullet hits and stuff were VFXed in. It's sort of a lot easier to do that when it's just at normal speed. But yeah. I don't know. That's all I'll say about that. I'm trying to find this shot though because that was funny.
It'd be good to look back somewhere along the show and actually find a shootout scene. Yeah, I see. It's strange.
I swear, Aaron's like partially see-through in this shot. Yeah, look. It's hard to kind of show it from here, but I feel like the back of his head's like blurred out and cut off, and yeah, something was not right about that.
You can't screenshot. You can take pictures or something to your Instagram or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Oh well.
But sorry, what I was saying is probably a good idea to try and find a scene from like way earlier seasons when like Rick was having a shootout with someone and have a look at the way that was shot.
Yeah.
And the way that it actually felt dangerous, you know, because like you say, it wasn't all slowed down and it wasn't it wasn't very reliant. It was like smashed glass and stuff around, and that was about it. Maybe some ricochet effects, but
it'd be good to compare. And the old ones definitely aren't flawless either, but yeah, there's just something about the feeling of it that kind of feels a bit different. But it might be that we've got rose-tinted glasses looking back on the older stuff potentially. So, because I would definitely, I think it all just comes back to whether or not the story's working. If the story's working and you're invested in the scene, then you're going to forgive little things. But if you're kind of not sure what the stakes are or what's happening, then like, yeah, you just...
Which was me.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Like, what's going on? Like, in terms of the story there, were they let out there to be shot? Was that the vibe? And they're like, all right, we've got to try and make our break now because they're about to try and kill us? Or... Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure what was going on.
they just smelt something a little funny in the air as far as like...
Well, they knew from the start because they were there at the place where they were kicking people off the roof.
Yeah.
So like they knew these guys are bad news, but yeah, like was it that just planned at the last minute, or had they planned that all along?
Yeah, it just didn't really add up.
Why now?
Yeah,
And
like
are
why
you
wouldn't
gonna
they have
take
just
out the
bailed
whole
right from the
army?
get-go? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because clearly, like Daryl, Aaron, Father Gabe, and like Maggie's group and all of that, they're going to be very clear pushback against Hornsby. So
Sure.
it makes sense in his book, I suppose, for him to just deal away with anyone who's going to be an immediate threat like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Do it out where no one's going to see it. The public's not going to see it. And then off you go.
And maybe the clues were there. Maybe you're right, Liam, that it was like because they said, yeah, we've got to do one more run. And maybe there were sort of hints there that, okay, this is the run, they're going to take him out somewhere and kill them. But I didn't pick up on that, at least.
If that was the vibe, they could have done it a lot better.
Yeah. But I could see how that might have been the intention, at least.
Yeah.
What other notes have you got? Isaac?
Oh, man, you're not going to like this next note. My next note is Ben smiles as soon as Lydia comes on screen. I swear, anytime she walks on the screen, I like glance over at Ben and he's just like,
I smile through the whole show.
And yet I smile.
And yet I smile.
Far out.
Oh, there you go. No, I mean, purely as a character thing. I'm like,
that's fair enough.
and she's definitely grown on me. Like, she's no longer this annoying nuisance who's always like,
Yeah, 100%.
upset and, you know, for good reasons. I can see back now, but I thought that was interesting.
I get what you're saying. I was more laughing actually at just how she just like
Pops
popped
up,
out
yeah.
from behind the tree. I was like, what the heck? And then I said to you guys while watching about the hollow tree Carl and Enid were in, and I imagine if everyone was hiding in that. Some
You weren't
sort of
far off the
other
money though,
dimension,
really.
What's next? Isaac?
Gee, I hope, and this was as it was happening, gee, I hope nothing bad happens to Herschel. So this is when Negan is chatting with Maggie. She finally says she's starting to trust him.
That was cool.
That was a good scene.
It's like, finally. Yeah. So I don't know why she's had a change of heart. Well, I mean, I guess when did he save Herschel?
Last episode?
Yeah,
Or
last
before?
episode from the Commonwealth guy who was like holding him hostage. So it wasn't like...
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could have been a bigger thing, but yeah.
Right. All right. So yeah, no. So she's coming around, which is great because it means that the Negan and Maggie show might be a little bit more friendly toward each other. And that was my note. Gee, I hope now that she said that, if Herschel goes and gets killed or something, I was like, please no.
No.
Can't take that.
No, definitely not. But yeah, no, and how she said like, I won't forget that you've done that for him. Even though other things have happened, that's definitely pumped you up in my books essentially.
Yeah.
So then it's like, you've got balls, Maggie. Or something. Yeah, that was definitely welcome after
Yeah.
a long while.
You talk a lot, Ben, about like character moments in this show and about being why that makes the show so special.
Right.
And moments like these, you really feel that it's like,
Yeah.
growth, finally, good.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. And I'm liking his beard as well at the moment. There's something about it. It's almost grown into like a Santa beard. Not quite. No, that's not true at all. But something about it.
It makes him look a lot more sort of beat down to me. Like whenever, because he's got like such sad puppy dog eyes all the time. And with that beard, there's just something about it which is like, I'm just going to go stand in the corner here and not bother anybody.
Right.
Versus like clean shaven Negan all the way back to, I made him spaghetti Negan. I don't know. I liked that better.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. All just aesthetics. But yeah, you can definitely, even just thinking back to that, like with the black hair and black beard, like now it's all grey. It's come a long way. All right, what else we got?
I have a whole lot of critical notes about the gunfight scene in the car yard, but
Oh yeah. We'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah.
Liam, if you think of any other scenes, I'm just sort of skipping through some stuff. There's not too much. There's a guy I thought looked like Captain Rex just because he had white armor, and then when he took his helmet off, he was bald. Yeah, all right, we're at the car yard fight now.
quick note on the real Jim Carrey as far as the actor goes.
Yeah.
So I saw a video of him just recently,
Yeah, I think we've seen the same one.
and I'm happy to say that Jim Carrey from this show now doesn't look so much like real life Jim
Well,
Carrey.
not Jim Carrey now, but how Jim Carrey used to look.
Yeah.
And I took a screenshot of him and his Dumb and Dumber smile.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't look exactly like him, but there's something about the expression.
It's more fun with Dick and Jane
yeah.
Jim Carrey, or even like
Right.
Bruce Almighty Jim Carrey. Look,
Right.
Yeah.
He just looks like a shifty version of him.
Yeah.
It's a shifty Jim.
Wish Jim Carrey. Regarding this car fight scene, so yeah, the slow-mo, whatever, but like as far as from like a technical point of view,
Technical meaning how they fought?
yeah.
Oh, sorry, finish what you're saying.
No, that's right. Cars in general make terrible cover. People think that you can duck behind a car, but it's like plastic and thin metal. Unless you're going to hide right behind the engine block, which people rarely do, the bullets are going to zip right through there all the time. And I wonder. The guns all have reflex sights on them. That's kind of like that clear box that you see on top.
Yeah.
Which makes for up close fighting like pretty easy, pretty accurate. You don't have to aim down sights, and you don't have to look through a scope. You can pretty much, it's a reflex thing. You just hold it up and pop.
True.
So the fact that anybody was shooting and missing, particularly trained, militia.
Yeah, when Father Gabriel especially is right there and he's like running at him. Yeah.
I was looking at him because I wasn't sure if he was lining up his blind eye or whatever. I'm always
Oh,
looking
the
out.
guy shooting at Father Gabriel is what I meant. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're always keeping an eye out for that. That's good.
So is he.
One other shot. This is the shot with Aaron in the foreground and Daryl there. Now, there is a technical thing where you can get I think it's called a bifocal lens, and you can focus on two different points at once. But I don't think that's what's happening here. Tell me that's not two shots, completely different shots cut together. One of Aaron in the foreground, the background's completely out of focus.
Yeah.
And then one of Daryl that has the whole background in focus.
It's not
That's
good.
like really obvious. But I mean,
What's going on there?
yeah, like it must have just been that they ran out of time, or they decided they wanted to, like maybe it wasn't obvious enough that they were planning to do that in the edit, and so they needed to cut a few shots together of them like nodding at each other. But yeah.
I know it's kind of like a different world setting and everything, but if you take AMC's like Breaking Bad, for instance,
I'm pretty sure AMC only owned the distribution for that. I think it's different.
Okay.
I could be wrong though.
okay, well that will negate everything I'm about to say. But I don't remember seeing these kinds of, dare I say, blatant mistakes.
Yeah, no, for sure.
or lack of consideration if it isn't a mistake.
Definitely.
Yeah, which it feels a shame because it kind of hurts the longevity, the rewatchability in my books at least. But I suppose if you're watching for the story, you can look past whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Carry on.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, pretty much what you said about the slow motion highlighting all the VFX shots, like all the bullets in the bus door and the glass flying around.
Man, I'm looking at this shot again of Daryl. That's like his hair is transparent. When he turns, his nose literally like becomes transparent at the end of it.
The tip of his nose.
That's like no question. Oh, when you freeze it, it is, but when you see it moving, it's like, something's not right.
I wonder what the purpose of all of that was.
I reckon it's just that they filmed it and it wasn't quite clear enough, or they just like filmed the two actors separately. Possibly they couldn't get them on the same day.
He throws a gun to him at one point, and that looked very awkward as well. In fact, I'd very much like to look at that one.
All right, I'll watch through it. You keep talking, and I'll.
I mean, I don't know where to go from here. As far as like the actual motion of the camera.
Oh no, there's a wide shot that definitely had both Daryl and Aaron in it. So
okay, okay, different people getting wounded.
Yeah. Oh, I'm keeping an eye out for him throwing the gun. But Liam, you had something to talk about.
Did I?
Did you with the gunfight?
Liam.
Or not?
With the what? Sorry, with
the gunfight. Maybe not. Maybe that was.
I did. I can do. Yes, I did.
Yeah,
yes.
sure. And then we'll move on.
I got to admit, I'm not a fan of someone taking a bullet and then, just sort of still being able to move around and whatnot. Granted, movie, TV show, you give it, you take it with a grain of salt and you give it grace.
Adrenaline as well.
Yeah, but you also look back on what was the guy that died from a gunshot wound to the leg?
Henry's brother.
Yeah, Henry's brother. Yeah, just one shot to the leg, and he's in a world of pain, and he ends up bleeding out and dying.
That's a good point.
Yet I think Gabriel takes a shot to the leg.
Aaron takes a shot to the arm, yeah.
And then Aaron was the more blatant one where he takes the shot and then he's still able to like lift his arm and use it as a support to shoot.
He got skinned on the outside versus Henry's brother who took it to the femoral artery.
That's
Did he?
fair.
Yeah. In that case, I'd take back what I said. I'm not a fan of someone copping a bullet and then like, that hurt.
When Isaac says words like femoral artery, you got to trust that he knows what he's talking about, because I don't know what that means.
That's like you bleed out in seconds if you get...
Right, okay, yeah. I'll take your word for that.
I would have thought Liam being a motorbike rider, isn't that like one of the... Because if you crash and you go up into the handlebars, you can like hit your femoral artery in your leg or something.
Maybe. I don't plan on doing that.
Watch out. Yeah, don't do that. Do it like a flip over your bike or something.
Alternatively, I'm just not going to crash.
Yeah. Or if you get... I don't know. I won't speak that into you.
Thank you.
Power of your words. Okay, so we got Max and Pamela Milton. Was this your scene?
This was the... afterward is... I just wrote useless scene with Deb because it autocorrected from Seb.
Okay. Just as a point of positivity at the start, I didn't mind it too much. I thought it was quite good, but you finished what you were saying.
What do you think it was trying to achieve?
Yeah, okay.
Well, only because I ask myself that at the end of a scene which doesn't then pop up later on.
Oh, sure.
The fact
you finish what you were saying, I'll have a think about it.
Okay.
And then I'll see if I can... Yeah.
Sebastian walks in and says, where's my mum? Is she pissed off with me? Her only son or whatever, and then he's like starts to look at Max and is like, look at you, you're always working. Oh, you're taking this back with you. Drops it, and then he like goes to grab it, and they're just there holding it together, and the music is going, oh, like, is he gonna discover what you're really doing with that file and tell on you or something? And then nothing happens and he just walks away. So it's kind of like tension for the sake of just tension.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
I was like,
it was more the earlier part of the scene I didn't mind as much, but yeah, you're right. When he came in,
I feel like it could like come back though. Like, they could throw him under the bus and say, he was the one who leaked it. Max could turn around to Pamela and say, "Oh, yeah, your boy was in here."
Right.
Or he's seen her holding a file that she was protective of, and so
Yeah.
He gets to be the good boy for his mum again and rat out Max and all of that.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I definitely think that could go somewhere, but you're right, there was a little bit of artificial tension maybe,
Yeah.
but yeah, I didn't think it was all that bad.
Big time for later on, I will get to. But
Right.
yeah. Oh, a quick note on Max as well I had for earlier. So Eugene is in bed, all morning glow and everything like that. And then I thought, what if again she's not the real quote unquote Stephanie? And
Again,
because it's
you're
the
the
exact
most perfect person I've ever met.
like, come on, poor guy, he's so trusting.
They better not do Eugene like that.
Nah.
Look at you, Dr. Smarty Pants.
I miss the old man.
Negan would have
Yeah.
to say that sarcastically to him, like if it does turn out that it's like twice in a row. Come on. Yeah, we got the bomb trap at Hilltop.
Yeah. Ghost Gregory is going, no! Because his favorite man has been blown up.
Yeah,
He said it was like a heritage site or something.
yeah. Well, R.I.P. Gregory.
Well, interesting note on that, going back to a Last Jedi philosophy of like let the past die type thing. Interesting that, the once mighty, structure on the top of a hill at Hilltop, cut to now blown up.
Yeah.
Well,
It's been burnt down as well, I guess.
yeah. I think it's still structurally intact. It's more so like I don't know enough about explosions. Could you just rig up smaller ones that would hurt people but not take down the walls?
Maybe from the outside we saw all the windows get.
Yeah, it did look pretty bad. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe. I do like that they're still doing things with it though. I have always liked it as a set,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe not anymore after. Oh no, because they've occupied it, the Commonwealth now. So
For now.
for now,
Yeah.
really cool explosion walker comes walking out of there.
Yeah, that did
Yeah.
look good.
That
See,
was
like,
cool.
Yeah, the burnt flesh on the shoulders, all raw and everything.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got the Leah versus Maggie in the woods, which we touched on a little bit.
I know I said I enjoyed this episode. I've got a lot of negative notes I'm just seeing now.
Yeah.
That do get more positive.
Yeah.
I really disagree with the violin screech that happens when you see like
Oh, that was terrible.
I don't do this on purpose, but like I laughed when it happened because it was just involuntarily, right? A laugh
I'll
happens.
be the other side of this one. I didn't think it was that bad, and I guess to argue for it, like it gives you the feeling that the character was feeling when she saw you sort of in the silent woods, and there's this one thread out there, and you catch a glimpse of her, and your adrenaline pulses, and like
Sure.
and it sort of gave us that feeling as the viewers. Well, maybe not quite because it made you laugh, but that I feel like that was what it was supposed to be doing, and I thought it was alright.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the violin screech is for like when Predator or someone comes like stomping out the bushes,
okay.
not when one single lady with a rifle who's still hunting you. I grant you that,
Yeah.
and it is nighttime, but like we haven't built up. Not
Well,
Lydia,
she's
Leah.
not big enough of a threat to
Yeah.
justify. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, so
And if it was a matter of like, she popped out and like almost hit her straight away or something like that, that would be different. But she was just like running around.
yeah,
See, I thought that straight after the second one, I thought it would have been a lot more impactful after that second violin screech if they'd have just had that as the first one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I get you there. That's fair. Then we got the inside scene, the secret meeting where they're planning to publish the story about the Miltons and all that, and newspaper. Now,
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing what this is all about is that they're printing, because they said at the end we've got people ready to like write out and deliver this or something. So they're printing like a secret newspaper that they're going to send to everyone. Because I don't think Connie's got that much influence in the actual newspaper, from what I can remember, unless she's fully like taken it over by now and we just haven't seen it.
No, she had, and someone who was in charge of her. We had that one scene of her being told, "No, you're
like,
going to go here and do this.
told off. Yeah.
Report on puppies or something, whatever."
Yeah. So, yeah, like it's kind of some of the stuff they were talking about. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. This is interesting. But like, yeah, it was just, where did this come from? How are they able to print this? And like, what are the stakes? Like, why would people believe it if they just like got given a random newspaper? If the Commonwealth official newspaper just says, oh, that was a lie, that was just some extremists trying to get you to.
But there's already that flavor in the air, right?
Yeah.
You've got that outburst rather, in the dude who slashed that poor lady's painting, saying
Yeah.
it's all lies, she's lying to everyone, and then this paper comes out and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
worth
Okay.
a read at least, I would think.
That's fair.
What happened to
It's
that
just
dude
more
again? Did
so
he
like.
die?
Sorry, say that again.
What happened to that guy? Did he die? I can't remember.
You just got put in jail, but he might have died.
That's what the public will be saying. Whatever happened to that guy? Huh? I don't know.
But yeah, I guess we just don't know what the stakes are for the characters. Like, what does this mean for Connie? Like, are they? Yeah, it's just completely out of nowhere, and we kind of have to guess based on a few lines of dialogue, like how they got to this point and where they're going to go next.
Well, Max has a line there where she says, "I can't stop thinking about what'll happen if we do this."
But what does that mean?
Well, yeah, true, actually, because it's not like they have a publishing name at the bottom,
Yeah.
or anything. Photo by Peter Parker.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, there's just enough there that it kind of works, but it's just sort of that bigger picture stuff that makes it a little bit less impactful than it could be.
Yeah.
Funny, I didn't actually latch onto any of that at all. I kind of just took it as they gave it.
Well, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if that worked for you, then that's great. Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
will
it might just
reiterate
be-
that I really don't care about any of it.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why I'm looking at it not so critically, because I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, you're starting a revolution. Pamela's lying to you. Something, politics.
Well, I guess that's the thing as well. And I don't want them to commit to this as a proper storyline and give time to it, because it's not interesting. But if they're going to do it, then you should give more time to it, in the sense that all our attention is focused on this thing with Lance Hornsby, and he's coming against the communities out there. And then we just randomly, for a couple of scenes, occasionally come back to this revolution building up inside the Commonwealth that doesn't seem connected to Lance Hornsby at all. And it's like a little bit related, but yeah, it's just kind of, you're not in that headspace, and then all of a sudden you're reminded of something else that's kind of happening in the background, but you don't have much context for, which, yeah, I don't know. It's all stuff that could work in theory, but it's just not quite working at the moment. Hey? This is the scene inside between Maggie and Leah where she's tied up. I really like the fight at the end. I thought that was quite good.
Yes, except the way it was cut together.
Oh, okay.
Some of the way, I mean, listeners won't know this. I've been growing out my hair for a while, and any time, even with my hair not being very long, you go and look down to pick something up and your hair falls in front of your face. It's the most annoying thing in the world. I refuse to believe that, ladies with full grown hair, wrestling around, it's just going to be all across their faces. There's no way.
Right.
No way at all.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I appreciate the sentiment, though, as far as what Maggie was saying about you don't just want to kill me, you want,
You want me to suffer? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There was a little bit of why is she saying that? Isn't that just going to stir Leah up and make it worse? That's obviously a Negan thing, but yeah, stalling. And getting her to hold the gun out so you can, take advantage of her easier. But anyway, I thought the fight felt nice and brutal and visceral, and then to have Daryl shoot Leah at the end was really cool, especially considering that sort of
Very
she's the one romantic interest. Predictable, you reckon?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
I kind of saw it coming.
Right.
For me, at least in
right
the
from
scene,
get-go.
it came out of nowhere. But yeah,
Okay,
I get overall it might have been. Yeah.
No, I thought this episode in general was fairly predictable. Like the guy that got shot by Leah, I'm like, yep, he's gonna die. 3, 2, 1. Yep, there it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, I wasn't in the same boat there, but
No, I thought, this dude's gonna die.
Fair
I thought
enough.
that was fairly obvious. And then as soon as Daryl said, all right, we should all split up, I'm like, okay, cool, he's gonna kill Leah.
Yeah, I thought that too. I will say though, I was a little disappointed with the way that panned out. Like I always thought that Daryl was going to kill her, but like kind of in my head directing it, it might have been like Maggie was able to kind of kick her off and they kind of separated, and that's when Daryl comes into the room and
Yeah.
like yells at her to stop.
Yeah,
And then she
yeah.
makes like a lunge again for Maggie, and then he has no choice but to shoot her.
yeah, make a little bit more of a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, because he seemed quite, there was a sad look in his eye as he
Yeah.
lowered his gun and turned away. It was undercut by quite a funny, just look through the window, you see Lance Hodgkin, so you just take a quick shot and you hear this,
Not quite as bad as the guy falling off the roof.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I think it could have had a bit more emotional weight to it, especially because Leah, in my mind, like, we got those couple of episodes much earlier on, and then all of a sudden she's loose out in the wild by herself. Ooh, what could happen? And now she's been back for one episode and she's gone, you know?
It completely nullified all of that to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a good point.
it had to be him. Yeah, I always thought it had to
Yeah.
be Daryl that does it, but yeah, maybe it could have been a little more emotionally.
Yeah. The way you described it, that would have been a lot better.
Right.
I 100% agree.
There's something in the back
Thank
of
you,
my
Lon.
head. I can't remember what I'm thinking of, whether it was in this show or just in another movie. But yeah, a similar kind of moment where it's like you got to make a split-second decision and kill someone who you kind of liked, but it's like what you have to do. It's on the tip of my tongue.
It's kind of cliche, like it was the Game of
Yeah.
Thrones ending. If
Yeah, that was more of a big deal, I guess.
rubbish.
There's something that's right on the tip of my tongue that felt really similar, but can't think of it. Yeah, anyways. But yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just overall it all comes down to just, again, too much going on, too many characters. Those sort of moments probably would have more impact if that was sort of, given more focus. But it's just like that's another thing on top of 5 other plot lines. And
Yeah.
so it's not as big of a deal as opposed to, obviously it was never going to be as big as Rick killing Shane, but it could have had a sort of similar impact in the sense of like, having to kill someone who you really care about.
Yeah. So Rick killing Shane, except he had always kind of not planned, but I think he knew he was going to have to do it. I don't think he ever
Yeah.
really left it up to Shane.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much spot on there.
Yeah.
So I remember him talking about that afterwards, like to the rest of the group, saying like, I knew what he was doing, and I gave him every opportunity to stop.
Yeah. Then we just got the sort of ending montage of the Commonwealth banner going up and
Really like that.
all the different places and I'm sure you were looking closely for Luke in the Oceanside
I
crowd.
was, I was.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Which
I
means
couldn't
he's safe.
Yeah, that's true. I couldn't even see Jules, his girlfriend. Yeah.
I did Google that, and apparently he will be back in the next.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So apparently he was away filming for
Fantastic Beasts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I have to say, knowing that, I'd prefer that then. That we get him in the final block versus in this
Yeah.
chaff at the start.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think he's doing flipping the coin at the end though? Because it seems like the sort of thing of like either you live or you die, or like Two-Face.
He's become literal Two-Face with a full-on gouge out of his
That's true.
right side as well. So
Yeah.
no self-awareness there, like flipping a coin.
But yeah, you do have to ask. Well, I guess we'll find out maybe more in the next episode. Like, why is he just randomly flipping a coin, deciding whether to kill these people? Like, that doesn't make sense with his plan to take over or whatever. Like,
Yeah, at the start he was doing that with like, you soldier, you go this way.
Yeah.
You pick.
yeah.
So
Was there any? Did that make sense? Like, was there any build up for that, or could you explain why that is suddenly
The
a
last
thing?
one, you mean, or
Oh,
Yeah,
either
in
of
general?
them. Like,
No.
well, where did the coin come from? Why is he
Nah,
suddenly doing?
yeah, no clue.
Someone just was a big Batman fan that was
Yeah,
writing this
yeah.
episode. Oh, let's make him Two-Face.
the thing about, much like explosions, as soon as you look at it, it becomes not cool anymore. If you're gonna flick a coin, you have to be able to like flick it and catch it,
Yeah.
and not look at it. Then that's super cool.
Ah, yeah.
You
I
run
see.
the risk of dropping it and looking like an idiot, but yeah, because you see him flick it and he straight away like looks up and has to catch it, and he's like, you look such a dork. Like,
You've got the people on their hands and knees going, "You're new to this, aren't you, buddy?"
flip a coin much?
I wonder if, like, this isn't true, but I'm just making it up. Like, we heard about the new Batman movie. It's like, oh, I would make a great Two-Face. Could you guys put in, like, a thing where I flip a coin and I can, like... Because I reckon he could actually, he does a good sort of slightly deranged villain.
yeah.
Like, I reckon he could work in a Batman movie. And, like... Even for Two-Face, like, he sort of seems like an ambitious political guy, but then, like...
Oh, mate, yeah,
a
he's
bit
got,
unhinged.
yeah, that too.
Can you imagine, like, if that actually comes to pass?
Yeah. That'd be
How
great.
crazy that would be.
This is legit his audition. Yeah.
You heard it here first, listeners.
That's
No.
it.
Shifty Jim becomes Two-Face.
And Jim Carrey was the Riddler
He was,
back in the
yeah.
day.
Yeah,
He was a great Riddler
Mm.
in terms of,
Eh,
like, not...
he gave it his all.
He was great in the sense of he made it Jim Carrey, which I liked.
Right.
I thought that was funny.
I haven't even seen that one. But anyway, before we get into Batman again, like we did last week, did you guys have any other notes for the episode?
Oh boy.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I wrote down cool piano because it started off as a piano piece,
Yeah.
and then turned into this big sweeping sort of not quite orchestral, but like a lot more instruments joined in.
Yeah, right.
The whole montage of the Commonwealth sweeping over and taking over the forts, such an epic power move to like roll down your banner over the
Yeah.
top of someone else's name. So great. And
Yep.
And with what you said about the locust swarm being metaphorical, that really works too.
Yeah.
And like, imagine now you're walking along the road and you see this settlement. Oh, it's got the big banner over it. This one, oh, same deal. So it's like it's the
Don't
whole
mess with
territory.
these guys, yeah.
Yeah. My note for it though was like, do they have the resources to man all of these forts? Like, if each of them has an attachment, I think that's what you call them, of like military attachment,
Who aren't
detachment,
very good.
detachment. That's the
Right.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wondered how thinly are they spreading their resources to be able to staff all of these settlements? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
That would just be a logistical thing, but I'm sure in the universe they've just got plenty of soldiers that they're doing that with now.
But like, they're obviously, if our group were able to, come in and have pretty prominent places so quickly, you'd think they don't have that many people staffing, running the Commonwealth, and now you're going to go and start a whole new thing as well. Yeah. But
Maybe,
yeah, I guess it's all just part of Lance's plan. So
Lance with the
yeah,
plan.
it'd be interesting. You were looking away for it actually, Isaac, but right at the start, what did you think of the title? 19 hours and one act of God earlier.
That was so bizarre.
Gee.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
One
See,
act of
that-
God earlier.
That is what really made it more jarring that the locust swarm didn't have an effect. Like, an act
Yeah.
of God should be like just at the right time. Then this massive thing came and saved our heroes or whatever. Like, as if like God stepped in and something changed. But
Yeah.
the fact that it just didn't affect anything
Yeah, because like, could it have been? I mean, this would have been an animation nightmare, but like, could it have been so thick the swarms and stuff that they're trying to battle their way out, but the swarms are so thick that they can barely get from place to
something
place.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Anyway, what other notes have you got?
We have reached our end.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I had a fair few.
Any other positives to end it on a high note?
Like I said at the start, this episode feels like it's leading towards something big. And it's one of the few times I can remember, besides the really obvious Negan with the baseball bat and everything, where you are excited and waiting for the next. I'm losing all my words here. You know,
I get what you're saying.
the installment's coming along, and there's all of these things happening
Yeah.
now.
But I didn't I felt like this was a good balance of leaving you excited to see what happens next, but not like an annoying cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was all right. Hey. All right, cool. Well, yeah, I think that'll do it for the episode at least. I don't really have too much else to talk about, so we could just end it there unless you guys have got any other topics.
I have a question about this episode, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right at the end, and now look, this might be because I'm red-green colorblind, but the two banners that were hung on Hilltop, the one on the right looked to me, I'm like, is that photoshopped in there? Or
They do look different.
yeah, they're very different, but I'm like, obviously it could just be sunlight. But the one on the right just looked too
I wouldn't
crisp.
say. I mean, it could be that it was added in later.
Photoshopped probably isn't the right word.
But if it was photoshopped in, then they would have like made an extra effort to match it to the other one, and that's like literally as easy as a color dropper. So I doubt it. I reckon it was just that the lighting was different on each of them. But yeah, they
did that stand out to either of you as jarring? Though?
no, not to me.
Is it
it
definitely
didn't.
did to
But
me.
now that I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, they are different.
So when it stood out to me, I'm like, I wonder if it's just because I'm red-green colorblind that is as jarring as it is.
No. Well, I mean, it might be, but
It is now.
You're not crazy. You're not seeing things. They are different.
Thanks for that.
No. You're welcome. Welcome to my world.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Who knows? No, if Aaron McLean or anyone's listening, you can let us. You can fill us in if there's anything worth knowing. But yeah, that's random.
I really would like to get him on again sometime, like when it's all over, and say like,
Well, he said that he'd be keen to come back and chat once the
Sweet.
show's done. Yeah.
like, and after, and we find good ways to, tactful ways, shall I say, to like bring up the more difficult questions.
Sure.
But as far as like we were showing before, I don't know if that's an editing thing or an actual VFX thing with the pretty obvious like compositing of like Daryl over the footage and like all the during that. I don't know who's.
I would say, and it, definitely if you haven't heard the interview we did with him, go and have a listen to that. It was really good. But we talked about the deer incident,
Yes.
and I would imagine it's actually a kind of similar thing here, where it was a matter of like they filmed it one way and then they got to the editing room and they needed it to be a different way, or they shot part of it and then they changed their minds. And VFX did the best they could with what they had, but like I can see why you'd have an issue, like the shot of Daryl's nose being a bit transparent, and because Aaron's like right behind him, so that would be really hard to rotoscope and make it work, especially on a low budget. So I would say, like, there's no reason that would be a planned VFX shot. I feel like that was just they had to do something at the last second to try and fix it, and that was sort of the last resort. So they did what they could with what they had. Because you can't. There's no way to make that look good if one shot has the background completely out of focus and the other is crystal clear. Like, yeah, you can't really do much with that.
And yeah, it always comes back to budget. Hey.
Yeah.
There are a couple, again, this is not a negative, but more just things that I noticed. When you've got Maggie running along in that night scene through the woods, right before Leah comes along, and she does like a look, because I was thinking like, it's great now that they've using digital, they can film at nighttime really well. But then she
Yeah.
like looks back towards us, and you can see her face very clearly lit up.
Yeah.
It was the spotlight again from episode 3. Yeah, it didn't look as jarring because it was a warm light in episode 3. But yeah, it was
Still pretty jarring.
Yeah, it's like, why is there just a bright
Yeah.
light on her face and then
Yeah.
it's not there in the next shot?
So
That's very strange.
because I like to imagine that there's like a craftsmanship to making these things, and it's not all about deadlines and budget and everything. But
Oh, for sure.
but maybe it is.
But in the same
Well-
sense, you know what your budget is in advance. It's not like you're going to go, well, that's just not in the budget. Let's do it anyways. Like you go, okay, well, this is out of the budget. Let's rewrite stuff, or let's figure out how we can make this happen.
I would say it's more a matter of just budget, meaning like it affects how much time you have to film something.
Ah,
If you've
okay.
only
Yeah,
got
yeah. That makes
like
more
a few
sense.
hours left, you can't pay everyone to stay extra.
Yeah.
We just have to get the shot, like whatever, you just have to chuck a light on her face. Like, yeah. But to bring it back to a positive note, episode 4, I think, in the Reaper's compound, it might have been 5, but that was really sort of lots of dark settings, but I really liked the way that was shot, and and it used the shadows well. Like there were times where, Daryl was in full shadow, but you could still see his silhouette really clearly, and I thought it made use of the light and darks well, even though it was in, it's not a sort of space where you can clearly light everyone, but they still made it work and look really nice, I thought. So, yeah.
Or even with the subway tunnels as well, in that earlier
Yeah,
chunk.
yeah, for sure.
Similar deal.
For sure. Alrighty, well, I think we'll end it there, but thank you so much for listening. Obviously we're going to be on a bit of a break. We might potentially do 1 or 2 before the show comes back if stuff comes up worth talking about.
Any forecasts on when it's coming back?
No.
October?
Yeah, probably.
I think
I'd
October.
say so.
I feel like I read October somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably right. I can't remember seeing an announcement. The odds are this time next week when the episode actually airs, they'll say it. But yeah, that's a good bet. And that's when it normally starts showing, sort of
Yeah.
October to late November, early December. Yeah.
So we'll wake you up when September ends.
Yeah, that's it. So you are.
Well done.
Alrighty. Thanks so much for listening, and let us know any other topics you'd like us to talk about in the meantime. Yeah, definitely we'd love to hear from you guys who are listening. I've been Ben,
Still Isaac.
And I'm always Liam.
and we'll catch you next time. Just keep walking.
Fare thee well.
We'll be walking a very long time
Yeah.
until October.
Fitness.
Yeah, walkers don't get tired.
Let it lie down.
Oh yeah, they do actually.